That was something I learned from my business partner, Ken Anderson, who I don't know where he picked up the idea, but he was right. And the idea was that you always have to make sure your business makes money. For the first 7 years of our business together, we made sure that we made the profit percentage, the EBITDA percentage that we had decided in our budget. What that simply meant was we took a smaller salary or less commission until the business made the money it needed. Because if your business doesn't make a profit, if it doesn't have cash flow, it can't hire the people and buy the equipment, do the marketing, and the other things required to grow. So if you want your business to be successful, you make sure it always makes a profit before you do. Well, you put the money back into the business where it needs it. Sometimes it needs it in people. Sometimes it needs it in equipment. Sometimes it needs it in marketing. Maybe you're trying to buy a building. You always need money to grow. And so what you need it for changes over time. But if you're not stacking it away every day, if you're not making sure the business gets paid first, then when you need it, you won't have it. We had an agency member a few years ago who had a goal to buy a building for his agency. When we looked together on his balance sheet, he had no cash. I said, "What are you going to use for the down payment?" And he gave me a puzzled look. That's why you need to stack up cash. You know, every business has its own profit needs and its own profit goals. In the insurance agency business, a well-run insurance agency ought to be generating 20 to 25% EBITDA, earnings before taxes, interest, depreciation, and amortization. Really profitable agencies may make as much as 35%. It's important to pay the business first. The owner should pay himself commission if he's serving as a salesperson, pay himself a salary for the work that he does, and let the rest of the revenue that is generated come to the business as profits, and then make a decision how much of those profits to leave in the company based on its growth and cash needs, and how much may be available for distributions to him. Well, if you don't pay the business first, you go broke. Why? Because when times come where the money that you think is going to show up to pay its bills isn't there, you have no money. One of the things that you do as you build profit in a business is you create something called working capital. Working capital is one of those fancy accounting terms that I think is sometimes intimidating to new business owners. All it really means is having money in the bank so that you can pay your bills even if you have a hiccup in what your customers are paying you. Working capital is something that everyone needs to be successful in business. How much you need depends on how rapidly you're trying to grow, how quickly you're collecting accounts receivable, how much cash flow you have, whether you're in a service business or in an inventory business. So it varies by business, but everyone needs working capital. And if you don't pay the business first, you don't accumulate the money you need for that. And then what happens is the big bill shows up or you have a cash flow hiccup, and boom, you're insolvent. Insolvency leads to bankruptcy. Now you get to work for somebody else because you didn't pay the business first. I'm not sure they're that complicated actually, but I think we all understand from our own personal lives that we have to have income to pay our bills. And if you think about it, your business really isn't any different than you are. It has to have money just like you do. It has bills just like you do. It has income just like you do. And if you don't keep a little money set aside when something happens like a health emergency or something like that, guess what you are? You're bankrupt. Same thing with your business. So I'm not sure it really is that complicated. It just uses big words to describe it. I learned it by starting my first business when I was 10 years old, and I've owned businesses ever since. And I've learned it through experience. Our members at OAA learn it through the coaching that we provide. And there's lots of business books out there. But really it's simple. Pay your business first before you pay yourself. Save a little bit of money, and the more experience you get, the more experience you'll have about how much that ought to be.